Hi, my name is Abel Sanchez, and I am going to be presenting my research topic that I did for my finals paper and and the findings I conducted in my research. And yes. So, um, my essay is titled "A Genocide Against Our Sisters: Research on Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls in Canada." So, there's a lot of basis that I established within the essay throughout the essay. And I think one of the things that I tackled first was the idea that Canada may not be as perfect as it seems. Um, in pop culture and just generally things, sometimes we view Canada, the nation of Canada, as a picturesque society where it seems there's good, tight knit communities all over the place, free healthcare, low crime rates, and such on. But what I do in this essay is rather disprove that. This was a belief I've had myself, but conducting this essay um, really allowed me to come to terms about the reality of that and could help other people come to those terms as well. So, what I cover is the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women. So, what this epidemic is that for a long time there's really not a good time period, um, a number of years that I could give you, but for years now, and this is also this happens all across the Americas, but for some reason it is a very big issue within Canada where a lot of Indigenous women and girls tend to go missing or go murdered. Sometimes families don't even get the answers that they want. Um, and this has been a long issue since colonization, and that's something that I do tackle a lot within the essay. But before I get to that, the big premise that I went um, uh, I went over and the big analysis and using my findings was the idea that the epidemic, this issue, this crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women should be classified as a genocide. So um, uh, I believe it is. I believe it's in my second area of analysis of the paper that I say that we are used to the idea that genocide can be committed by the government only, but the word genocide, well, the idea of genocide can be a social thing as well, a societal thing. Not only the government is capable. Police are capable, religious institutions are capable of genocide, even citizens are capable of carrying out a genocide, and that's what we're seeing within this issue. So what I really wanted to do was show proof as to why the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women is considered a genocide. So, my findings, I have three areas of analysis. The first one is the history of genocide against Native women. So, I went over the residential schools. These were schools that were used to assimilate Native children into white culture, the fur trade. During the fur trade in Canada, many Native American women and girls were kidnapped by white men. They were used as servants, sexual servants. They were used to just do many things, more like an indentured servant in a way. Um, but these issues, these occurrences in history were the first to mark of this genocide. The second one I went over was how can we classify this as a genocide? So the Canadian government in the years between the years 2016 2000 to 2019 conducted an investigation that was called the Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, and what they eventually came out with at the end of the investigation was that that this issue is a genocidal issue. This is an issue that has been long, long happening. Um, and this issue has evolved into many things up till now, up to the issue that many of these women face, and which is going missing and being murdered. the last one I went over, the last area of analysis I went over was that the police and government involvement within these cases are not really the best. Um, there are known cover ups, there are known stereotypes, there are known profilings of Indigenous women and girls, and it is very unfortunate. My thesis was the extremity of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls classifies this issue as genocide. I go over many different niche extremities that occur within this issue, and I believe throughout my paper and throughout my analysis, my research, my critical thinking, just really finding ways to advocate for this issue, that we really can call what this issue really is, and that is a genocide. Of course, it's kind of taboo to kind of refer to it as a genocide, but in the essay, I made it very clear is that we cannot be afraid to call something by what it is, and this issue is an example of as to how this can be considered a humanitarian issue, and that this issue echoes many different humanitarian crises all over the world, considering with the Gaza conflict, the Sudanese civil war. Sometimes they are just labeled as simply conflicts, but rather genocide. So that is something that I really wanted to pull to attention within my essay, and that's what I really wanted to teach, and really wanted to invoke, but also inform about this issue, inform about the feminism aspect of it, as to how we can advocate for these women and girls. Thank you.